Good morning, YouTube. So, if we just rewind back to 2020, I was in a gym and I was maxing a machine, and I was maxing the machine for like 40 reps, and I needed a way to add more plates to the stack. And I remember working up in the logbook from 30, 35, 40. I think I did like 43 reps on this adductor machine in a Total Fitness, which is like a Planet Fitness or a Globo gym if you're from the States. And I said to Chris, I need a way to add more plates to the stack. So I sketched something out, and he welded it together for me. And the first iteration was terrible, and it bent quite quickly. And I said, no, that's no good, Chris. I need you to make something a bit different. So we did another one, and it wasn't very good. And then 5 or 6 iterations later, we had something that we thought would stand the test of time. And then my friends in the gym started asking if they could have one. So we made a few more. COVID hit, and that was the best thing that ever happened for the business, as everyone was not working on their phones, on Instagram. People started buying more and more GymPins. So that was 2020. We're now 5 years on. It's been a very, very exciting journey. It's been a hell of a steep learning curve for us. And whenever we release a product, we get suggestions from our customers saying, well, why don't you change this? Why don't you do that? Have you thought about doing this, doing that? And that's how the range has grown. So we're very aware now that there's a lot of GymPins on the website for different uses, and sometimes that can appear confusing. So we're always trying to simplify and provide the best advice we can to people or customers to the website who can make an informed decision on which GymPin to buy. So that's what this video is going to be all about. Which GymPin should I buy? So we've got the Minipins, the GymPins and the Kingpins, and I'm going to talk you through which one is the correct one to buy for you. So it all started with the humble GymPin, which is this. So if you've been on the website, you will see that the GymPin comes in both 8mm and 10mm. Now this is designed for machines with obviously an 8mm or a 10mm hole. Now one problem we've always had, or we've been trying to tackle the problem since we started rather, is that we needed a way to accurately tell customers or advise customers on which GymPin to buy, depending on which brand of machine they're using. So you'll see on the website that we've included a handy size guide, which has all the brands listed down one side and all of the sizings on the right hand side. It's very, very difficult for us to categorically cover every single brand in every single country around the world. Sometimes the brands change as they get taken over or whatever, change their mind. So it's quite difficult for us to accurately say with brands like Matrix and Precore, because Matrix and Precore did change the size of the pin at some stage, which is why you'll see that they'll have both 8mm and 10mm on the size guide. If the size guide doesn't help, or you're using an unbranded piece of equipment, what we would suggest is that you measure the size of the pin that goes in the machine, either with a ruler, and you need to measure the diameter. So the diameter is the width, and that will tell you if you need an 8mm or a 10mm pin, okay? If you don't have a ruler, or you don't want to take a ruler to the gym, what we also suggest is the Bic Biro method. So that is, get a standard Bic Biro pen, put that in the hole in the machine. That's about 9mm. If it's too loose in the hole, then obviously the 10mm is a good choice. If it doesn't fit, then the 8mm is the one to go for. So that's a quick and easy test. So that brings me on to the rest of the products then. So it all started with the GymPin. And when we brought out the GymPin, people said they needed a way to add more plates, specifically to adductors, which is why we brought out the Kingpin. So the difference between the GymPin and the Kingpin. The GymPin is 6 inches of loadable space, whereas the Kingpin is 8 inches of loadable space. So unfortunately, guys, size does matter in this case. The GymPin, like I say, we say it can add 3 plates depending on the thickness of the plates, whereas the Kingpin we say it can add 4 plates depending on the thickness of the plates. The GymPin comes in 8mm and 10mm, whereas the Kingpin comes only in 10mm. So that is a key difference. And no, before someone asks, we're not going to be bringing out an 8mm Kingpin anytime soon. We designed the Kingpin to be our longest and strongest pin, so it's going to stay in 10mm format only, okay? And then the Minipin, okay? So once we brought out the Kingpin, you guys started telling us that you wanted a way to add incremental plates to machines. So whereas the GymPin is 6 inches long and has 6 inches of loadable space, the Minipin is 3 inches long with only obviously 3 inches of loadable space. They're both manufactured in exactly the same way. They're both just as strong as each other. The Minipin is just shorter. So the Minipin, I know someone will ask, the Minipin weighs about 500 grams, the GymPin weighs about 800 grams, and the Kingpin weighs about 1.1 kilos. So do factor that in when you are adding weights to machines. So what size do you need if you're not sure? So I say the 8mm is universal fit. It will be a little bit loose in a 10mm hole, but you can always add a clip to that just to make it stay on. Ideally though, we do always recommend getting the correct size for the machine that you're going to be using. So if you know the brand of machine, again, look on the size guide. If you're not sure, please go on to our live chat and someone will jump on and try and help you then and there. If we can't help or it's unbranded or something, then try and measure. And if you're still not sure, then the 8mm is the one to go for. That's universal fit, okay? So one common question we get asked is, can you use the GymPin on machines with a guard around the stack? The first prototype we made had a collar around the base of the GymPin, but we quickly realised that when you've got something like a life fitness machine where the stack has a guard around it, that doesn't fit. So we've removed the collar, and in doing so we had to strengthen the rest of the product, which is fine, which is just part of the manufacturing process. So they do fit on machines which have a guard around the stack. That won't be a problem. So I just thought I'd address that because that's a very common question we get asked. So if your gym has a brand which isn't listed on the size guide, what we would need is we need your help to try and get the right sizing to advise other customers. So if you can measure for us and let us know which size to go for, then we'll add that to the size guide. And then that way everybody benefits.